Yeah. So, one thing that I want you guys to realize is that for me, growing up, I've done a lot of different things. I've talked about my military career and things like that, and times where I've fallen, and times where I've been successful. But one thing that God has always showed me, and this has helped me to excel in my academics, this has helped me to excel with my relationship with my wife, excel in everything that I do, is that I realized that I have nowhere to go but up. Like, I've been jumped before. When I was in Iraq, one of my roommates actually pulled out a gun on me before and pointed at my chest. So I've faced near-death situations. I faced a lot of adversarial things that could have flipped my life totally upside down. I could not be here right now. I could be in the grave. I could be in prison, like we just talked about earlier, like she just brought up. I could be in a lot of different places, but God has blessed me to be where I am today. And I want you all to realize that, as soon as you realize that you have nowhere to go but up in your situations, you'll really be blessed. Because whenever times and tests, start to rain on you, and you start to feel, a little disappointed, like we just talked about, a little depressed, whenever you start to feel those things in your life, you'll be able to overcome them. And God has made us to be more than conquerors. That's what He's made us to do, to conquer, to succeed. So, like I said, for me, when I realized that I can't be no more broke than what I am right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've slept around. I've done so many different things. So it's just like God had reproved me. He sharpened me up, and He said, "Look, there ain't nowhere else for you to go at this point. You have to figure it out, and you have to pursue me. And if you pursue me, I'm gonna take you up." And the Bible talks about, whenever we look towards the hills, whenever we look towards Jesus, from which cometh our help, our help in our understanding and everything else, that's when things really start to formulate, and that's when things really start to be prophesied into us, and we start to really flourish as human beings. So for me, whenever we start to look in that thing, whenever we start to go in the right direction, what God has for us, that's when we really start to, feel and have, the assets, the resources. God will start to put people in your life that are good for you, instead of putting individuals, in your life that, could potentially hurt or harm you, which He never does. But obviously, we put ourselves in those situations where we're around those types of people. So I just want you all to feel like, that life, throws you curveballs, but at the end of the day, it's all about Jesus. It's all about, going up from here, It's all about going up from HBU. We're not here just to get bachelor's degrees, but we're here to go further in our careers. We're here to do the best we can, as far as the academics is concerned. We're here to do the best we can with our relationships and things like that. So I just hope that kind of resonated with you, and that you understand what I'm trying to say, and that it affects you in a way that, you realize that no matter how far deep you go, if you look towards the heavens, which comes with your help, you'll always be a child of God, and you'll always have the opportunity to be raised up. So that's what I wanted to talk about primarily. So next, I want to get into the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. So let me go ahead and get you all to read the Word of God real quick. So just to let you guys know, we're on chapters 7, but we're going to go through chapter 9. So chapter 7 through 9 is what we're going to be reviewing today, as far as in 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. So the first thing I want to read is Philippians chapter 2, verses 1 through 11. So. If I could please get a couple of readers, 2 or 3, that would be awesome. chapter 2, verses 1 through 11.
I want to try my new book, so
Okay. Okay, you got one. Okay, somebody else?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
How many verses apiece?
3, 4.
Oh,
Yeah, good.
all right. Therefore, if you have any encouragement from being united with Christ, if any comfort from His love, if any command sharing in the Spirit, if any tenderness and compassion. Wait, what were we reading? I already read one, so
Yeah.
do I read all?
Just read like two.
Okay. Then make my joy complete by being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit and of one mind. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, rather in humility.
Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, who, being in the form of God, did not consider it robbery to be equal with God, but made himself of no reputation, taking the form of a bondservant, and coming into man, and being found in appearance as a man, obedient to the point of death, even the death of the cross.
Therefore God has highly exalted him and bestowed on him the name that is above every name, so that Jesus that should bow on earth and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father.
Okay, awesome. Amen. So, to give you a quick background on Philippians, it was written by the Apostle Paul, and basically, he was writing a thank you letter to the Philippian church, and it was for a gift that he had received. So, the church was going through massive, persecution all over. He was actually in at a particular time, and so, he was actually underneath the regime of Nero during the time frame. He actually, was making a lot of bad things as far as the persecution happened within time. I got that in the background. I would like to talk about the scripture. As far as what do you all get from that?
To be humble.
Mm-hmm.
But also rather show compassion to others than selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
Take more interest of other people than yourself, definitely. And make sure your relationship with Jesus Christ is number one.
Okay, awesome.
I think I keep seeing the word humility and examples of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the overarching theme of these first 11 verses is humility, and it shows how Christ humbles himself by not even claiming his divine rights to be God in his human.
Awesome. Well, that's definitely the key, is humility, and I would like to talk about the first individual in chapter 7 that is like the primary example of humility and sacrifice. Get a reader in chapter 7. That'll be awesome. From the very first point.
I try to read it to what?
Okay.
Over here.
Page 73 to 74. And then I'll tell you when to go further. But yeah, just the background of the individual.
So page 73 to 74?
Yes, 73 to 74, correct.
Oh, okay. I'm like, oh. If you had seen her, your first reaction might not have been respect. She wasn't a very impressive looking woman. Just a little over 5 feet tall, in her late 30s, with dark brown, weathered skin. She couldn't read or write. The clothes she wore was coarse and worn. When she smiled, she revealed that her top 2 front teeth were missing. She lived alone. The story was that she had abandoned her husband when she was 29. She gave him no warning. One day he woke up and she was gone. She talked to him only once after that, years later, and she never mentioned his name ever afterwards. Her appointment was erotic.
Erratic.
Most of the time she took domestic jobs in small hotels, scrubbing floors, making up rooms, and cooking. About every spring, she would disappear from her place of employment, come back broke, and work again to scrap together what little money she could. When she was present on the job, she worked hard and seemed physically tough, but she also was known to suddenly fall asleep sometimes in the middle of a conversation. She attributed her afflictions to a blow to the head she had taken during a teenage fight. Who will respect a woman like that? The answer is more than that. More than 300 slaves who followed her to freedom out of the South. They recognized and respected her leadership. So did just about every
Abolitionist.
an abolitionist in New England. The year was 1857. The woman's name was.
All right, great. All right, so I'll go ahead and jump off the last part I wanted to be read. So while she was only in her 30s, Harriet Tubman came to be called Moses because of her ability to go into the land of captivity and bring so many of her people out of slavery's bondage. So if you see here, like, she was exalted, right, for what she did. I mean, that's a huge, you know what I mean? That's a huge name to have, labeled only as Moses actions of Egypt. It's just a huge testimony as a person, for people to even label her, something so iconic. Obviously, everybody knows about, her and, what she did for the Underground Railroad and, all of her accomplishments. The rumor about her being on the $20 bill, I don't even know if that's going to happen. Did you hear about that?
I heard about that.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's going to happen on this point.
It'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. I'm like, yeah, you need to do that. So, yeah, so I mean, all her accomplishments, while she was living and after death, because, I mean, we're still talking about the woman.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's obviously had a very piece in our history, in American history altogether. So definitely, I would like to highlight the fact that the individual, and that's why I want to, talk about you guys. As far as the leadership is concerned, continue to sacrifice, continue to do what you need to do in your realm, with being academics or anything like that. It might not look glorious. What she was doing, as far as in getting slaves out of different southern states, it's not a glorious job. Through the woods. That's something a woman should do. Wood. It was just things.
Kasha as a mentor.
That's cool.
Who else? I think as another friend of mine. Her name's Leslie. But she's a friend of mine. She's also Christian.
Okay.
She gave me advice on how to she treats me like an adult, so she gave me advice on how to behave like an adult.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Taylor.
Navigator's leader here on campus.
Okay.
His name's Derek.
Awesome. Okay. So for me, I have like several. All right. So everybody knows about Jamar, correct? Jamar Mitchell. I've talked about him before.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So in spiritual life, I speak with him quite a bit about some very deep subjects. Sometimes it's philosophical. Sometimes it's theology related. It could be anything. Like, he has a lot of knowledge on different things, and I know he's not going to steer me in the wrong direction. So I talk with him, and let me see who else. Dr. Hammonds. I don't know if anybody knows Dr. Hammonds in here. Anybody knows? Okay, yes. So he's a cool guy, right? Very cool. And he's just all about the students and making sure his students are very well equipped to do things in their future. So one thing I want to ask you guys is your mentor challenging you? Yes. He's challenging you, like, for real?
Yes.
What is he? Okay, what is he? What?
He challenged me to read a whole chapter of the Bible. He challenges me to listen to him without
Okay.
interruption.
Okay.
If I don't,
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, dictator. Okay, I like it. No, I'm joking. You sound like me a little bit.
he
Okay.
does.
Okay.
And also with Christianity, how we get closer to God.
Okay.
New Year's revolution was.
Okay.
Is.
Okay.
I'm with you. Okay. Taylor, does your mentor challenge you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm like memorizing scripture and spending time with God.
Awesome. Awesome. Anybody else?
My mentor doesn't let me settle.
Doesn't let you. That's good.
She pushes me.
That's good. That's good. Well, ambition is a good thing, man. Ambition is a good thing. And yeah, Ayana?
Yeah, my mentor challenges me because she doesn't tell me, but she encourages me to live a Christ-like life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if I said I'm not going to do something, like, she'll hold me accountable for it.
That's good. That's good. Awesome. You guys?
Yeah, I have the same answer.
Same thing?
Same mentor.
Okay. So for me, I mean, my mentor really does challenge me, you know. He challenges my leadership at times because I'm like, you know, I told you guys about, like, he'll pose a question to me and it could be crossover related, like the brand of crossover, what are we doing, you know, what's our main focus, you know, where are we at now, or it could just be personal, like, you know, what are you doing in your off time, you know. And so he asks me these questions all the time just to see if I'm continually doing what I'm supposed to be doing as a leader. So I need it. I need somebody to check on me from time to time, make sure that I'm, you know, heading in the right direction as well. So he definitely challenges me from a day-to-day basis, you know, and make sure that I'm tight in certain areas. And so does Dr. Hammonds. You know, he wants me to be very successful. So he always gives me books all the time. Like, every time I go to his office, a new book. But I like it though, because I'm building my library.
I would love that.
Yes, but he's very generous in that type of way. So it's not a guessing game. So if we could briefly read over that. As a matter of fact, I'll read it. People don't follow others by accident. They follow individuals whose leadership they respect. People who are an 8 in leadership on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the strongest, don't go out and look for a 6 to follow. They naturally follow a 9 or a 10. The less skilled follow the more highly skilled and gifted. I actually didn't end it there because that's what it talks about the whole entire thing. So naturally, we follow individuals that are stronger than us, you know, and we want to learn from them so we can become stronger. And it's you know, it's the whole concept of addition and subtraction, right? We talked about that a couple of chapters ago. So as far as in you having a mentor, they should always be adding into you as far as in like knowledge and wisdom to get you ready for the next level, to get you where you need to go, and to be a future leader, you know, legitimate, you know, to be a steward in your community and things like that, and to be a husband and a wife, get you ready for actually, you know, real life and just reality. So me, I mean, I don't like to gauge exactly where I am as far as in my leadership skills. I think I'm pretty high, but God is good. You know, I feel like it's all about experience. And over time, we go through so much, and our toolbox just gets greater. You know, we learn from our mistakes, and over time, we just become better leaders. And those, you know, people who see that, they will follow. And I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I'm sorry you guys kind of missed out, but the 3 keys to leadership, to me, is just the foundation altogether, is consistency, effort, and excellence. So if you are consistently doing what you need to do, you know, if you're consistently studying, if you're consistently, you know, stay on top of your health, like we talked about going to the gym, things like that, you show people something that is not the regular, you know, especially like in modern times, and what we see from a day-to-day basis. People pick up something, they'll pick up a hobby, they'll pick up, you know, anything, and then they'll drop it 2 minutes later. You know, they'll just say, okay, I'm done with it. But whenever you show consistency and you show, you know, that Christ-like character, people gravitate to that and they want to be a part of that. So, okay. So gaining the respect of others. If we could briefly go over that.
Where do you want to start?
No, page 78 on the bottom. Yeah.
What causes one person to respect and follow another? Is it because of the qualities of the leader? Is it due to a process the leader and follower engage in? Does it occur because of the circumstances? I believe all those factors come into play based on my observations and personal experience. Here are the top 6 ways that leaders gain others' respect.
Okay, so just go over the highlighted, you know, points. Natural leadership ability, respect for others, courage, success, loyalty, and then value added to others. So as far as encourage is concerned, I mean, we could talk about that with the individual we just spoke of, Harriet Tubman. She obviously displayed a tremendous amount of courage to go to the South and try to help individuals who were slaves and get them, you know, to the free part of America. So, I mean, that's a tremendous amount of courage because obviously you can be killed at any time, you know. The abolitionists who were helping her out could have, you know, just said, you know what, it's not worth me losing my house. It's not worth me losing my possessions. I'm just gonna snitch. You know what I'm saying? She in the attic, you know? So we have to, as leaders, even in today, we have to display a great amount of courage and show people that we're willing to go, you know, the farthest extent to be successful, not only for ourselves, but for others around us. And that's what she did. She helped other people gain liberty, gain freedom. So we should be always in the fight for morality, you know, and other people around us. So. We're going to go ahead and get into the next chapter now, and that is the law of intuition. And the Bible verse I would like for us to read is Hebrew chapter 4, verses 12 through 13.
Give me a moment. Gotta work this magic for you, buddy.
Hebrews 4, 12, 13.
Yes, sir. Whoever wants to read it.
Verse 13.
Yeah, 12 to 13.
For the word of God is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing to the division of soul and spirit, and joints in the marrow, and discerning the thoughts and intentions of the heart. And no creature is hidden from his sight, but all are naked and exposed to the eyes of him to whom we must give account.
Okay, so I think that basically explains the law of intuition. So it's basically just instincts. That's really all it is. And for me, my instincts were always clouded before I became a true Christian. Like, seriously. But whenever I became a true Christian and cut off a lot of distractions, I was able to really see things really work. I was able to read people's reactions. I was able to really discern, have a sagacious spirit and say, okay, you know, this person is against me. This person, you know, is an adversary possibly, or this person is someone who needs, I need to convert, whatever. God will show you those things. He'll give you the intuition if you follow him. That is definitely the bulk of the law of intuition. So, okay. Quickly, I would like to go over everybody is intuitive. Read it.
Not all people are intuitive in the area of leadership, but every person possesses intuition. Why do I say that? Because people are intuitive in their area of strength. I'll give you an example. Because I am a communicator and do a lot of public speaking, People occasionally want to hear from my wife, Margaret, as she receives an invitation to speak at an event. As the date approaches, Margaret works on her presentation and puts together her notes, but we inevitably end up having a conversation something like this. John, how do you think I should start, she asks. It depends, I answer. That's not much help. Margaret, I'm not trying to be difficult. Every speaking situation is different. Okay, but what would you do? Well, I'd go out and talk to many of the attendees before the event and try and get a feel for who they are, just to check out the room. And I'd listen to what the host said and to the people who spoke before me to get an idea if I should play off something they said or that happened earlier. I'd find a way to really connect with the audience. That doesn't help me, she answers with frustration. To be honest, her questions frustrate me as much as my answers frustrate her. I have a hard time explaining what I would do because communication is intuitive for me. It's one of my greatest strengths.
Okay, so the primary purpose of me getting you all to read this is everybody has different gifts. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Not everybody is going to be, strong in, let's say, being creative. Not everybody's going to be strong in writing. But it's through the body of Christ that we meet people that they help us in those areas. Does that make sense? That God gives us the ability to meet the individuals of which we need to meet so we can build those weaknesses up. And we're almost done with this chapter already. I like to talk about the final part at the end. So on page 95, it says leaders are readers of themselves.
So, finally, good leaders develop the ability to read themselves. Poet James Russell Lowell observed, "No one can produce great things who is not thoroughly sincere in dealing with himself." Leaders must know not only their own strengths and blind spots, skills and weaknesses, but also their current state of mind. Why? Because leaders can hinder progress just as easily as they can help create it. In fact, it's easier to damage an organization than it is to build one.
That's cool. That's it. So, like we talked about before, God will give you the ability to discern, your blind spots, right? He'll give you skills in order to build your weaknesses. So, for me, for instance, we'll talk about last week. Last week, we had a lot of different things going on, okay? My boy over here, he got in a wreck. There was too much going on. I can't talk about it because I actually got a bad grade for the first time in a long time. So I was really pissed. Like, my wife really helped me. So, yes, like the sky is falling, basically. So, I mean, things happen, but God told me, he's like, look, you need to just chill. Let's refocus our energy and let's do Bible study next week. So God always gives you the ability to make, clear-cut decisions, make good decisions, that are not only good for yourself, but good for everybody else. Because I couldn't even picture myself speaking to you guys in that sort of mental mind state. Like, I probably would have, instead of cuss words, and I don't even cuss. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have been out of sorts. Because it was too much happening at one time for me. So that's one thing I want to get you guys to realize is that, the closer you get with God, the better you're off, as far as in being able to make the best decisions for not only yourself, but those around you. And we're done with that chapter. And then last, we're going to talk about the law of magnetism.
Did anybody want donuts?
Oh yeah, there's donuts for you.
Yes, there's donuts for her.
Oh, yeah.
And here napkins too.
So, real quick, would somebody like to read just the very beginning, effective leaders?
Effective leaders are always on the lookout for good people. I think each of us carries around a mental list of what kind of people we would like to have in our organization or department. Think about it. Do you know who you're looking for right now? What is your profile of the perfect employees? what qualities would they possess? Would you want them to be aggressive or entrepreneurial? Are you looking for leaders? Do you care whether they're in their 20s, 40s, or 60s? Stop right now, take a moment, and make a list of the qualities you'd like in the people on the team. Find a pencil or pen and do it right now before you read any further.
All right. Could you all please do that exercise for me if you have any paper?
What do I wait?
You need some paper? I need some paper? Okay. I got it. No, I don't even have
What is your
my paper.
what is your portfolio?
Let me stop playing.
What quality? Let's say you own a business and you're looking. Let's
Yeah, if you
say-
want to do it on your phone, that's
for
cool.
instance, You have a business. You're looking for employees.
So in the very
qualities
first
do those
part, so
employees
we're just talking about the
possess
mental,
that you would.
the type of mentality you would like to have as far as if you were to have an organization with people, you know, you would want, like, as far as character.
No, you're making a list.
Yeah, like, what type of qualities you would want them to have
Oh, the qualities of the people.
that are underneath you. Exactly. Exactly. Did everybody get that as far as in what we're trying to do?
I got a long list, so make it minutes.
Okay.
Don't worry.
I can guess a little bit. If you guys are done, go ahead and let me know so I can go ahead and let everybody talk about it. And please keep this in mind. You're trying to build like a very successful business or organization or department. So, all right. I'll wait about another 30 more seconds, and then I'll go ahead and let you guys share. Do we have one of your CLW?
Yeah.
I'm getting there. I got like 37. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and share. We'll start with the guys first. Let's start with the guys. Because I want to know what type of character and quality of employees you would have. Go ahead.
Chill to hang out with. Hard worker.
Okay.
No, yeah, you know, like outside.
Okay.
Yeah. Hard worker, dedicated, knowledgeable, selfless, responsible, they have integrity, and that they have Christ.
Awesome. Go ahead.
The characteristics for my employees, they have to be loyal, they have to be tactful with their word, they have to be responsible, creative if possible, of course trustworthy, and hardworking.
Awesome.
Committed, punctual, independent, hardworking, good background, loyal.
Awesome. So for me, it would have to be loyal, ambitious, punctual, like you just talked about,
Yeah.
selfless. That's about it for me. If you're very ambitious, I think that covers quite a bit.
Yeah.
That covers quite a bit for me. All right, ladies, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Ambitious, courageous, outgoing, need to be an extrovert, hardworking, truthful, and caring.
Awesome.
Hey, respect, have to listen, courtesy, polite, hard worker, doesn't steal, thoughtful, funny, not afraid to show personality, goofy, know better to behave at workplace, non-bad motives, leave private matters at home, not in the workplace in front of customers.
Okay. Okay.
Mouthful.
Hey. You wanna go ahead? Go ahead.
Okay, I have self-starter, reliable, motivated, in their 20s, willing to learn, punctual, good communication, good with technology, good sense of humor, and they're fun but professional.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Tiffany?
Loyal, humble, service-oriented, independent, and integrity.
Awesome. Naomi, did you already go?
Reliable, trustworthy, honest, team player, responsible, and self-disciplined.
Awesome.
I put smart, friendly, honest, and hardworking.
Awesome.
I put smart, honest, dedicated, responsible, creative, and a Democrat.
They have political affiliation. Like,
That's a no-no in the workplace.
right,
Talk about
right,
that.
right. Talking about politics in the workplace, man.
It's my workplace.
Hey, yeah, you right. You right.
Conservative, Democratic.
Right, yeah. So one question I have for you guys is, do you have all those qualities? Out of all the qualities that you talked about, do you have those?
I have goofy.
Yes.
Do you have all of them though? Do you have?
Yes.
You guys have all of them?
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
I'm lacking on the creative part.
Majority, yes.
I'm lacking on the creative part.
Okay, you're like, okay. All right. So if you could, just go ahead and write a check mark where you do and put an X where you don't.
Where was a maybe or between yes or no?
Loyal.
I don't know.
One is
I don't know.
one is
I don't know.
it's No, we always do.
Why do you gotta be a Democrat? What's up with Democrats, man?
Just what she likes, Megan.
You're in the, are you in the redistribution of wealth? Is that what you're into? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Woo. All right. Okay. So, yeah. So, I mean, the reason why I had you guys do this is because I want you guys to be accountable. So, for the things that you have an X on, please let me know the following Bible study, which will be week after spring break. You know, what did you do to fix that problem? What did you do to be more accountable in that issue? You know, you guys feel like sharing which ones you lacked in, or y'all want to keep that confidential?
I put one listen.
Listen? Okay, awesome. So, give me an example next, we got the next, of how you listen to somebody and, you know, you had the itch not to, but you said, okay.
Oh no, I did that today just an hour ago because he was talking about his headphones and how much he loved it.
Okay.
And I'm like,
Okay, okay.
And I would agree with him. I'm like, oh God, this is so boring. But you know, I kept going. So.
I got you. Okay, so again, we'll try to go ahead and work on that and show me like next week. What got next? We'll have mercy. I think I'll say next week. That you were accountable in that area of your life. So if everybody could do that for me, that would definitely, you know, make me happy. Okay. All right, cool. Okay. So we're gonna highlight a couple of points and we're gonna be done. So number one, attitude. It talks about it here on page 106. You don't have to read the paragraph because it's self-explanatory. You have to have attitude in order to, you know, have people gravitate towards you. You have to have the type of personality that people like. So you have to have a certain attitude, background. What's your experience? You know, why should people follow you? Why should people want you as their employer, you know? Like, what makes you so different? You know what I mean? What makes you so unique? Another question, would you hire you?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, like, seriously, like, would you hire you?
Of course I would.
I like that. That's confidence. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's what we should be saying. But that's the type of question that we have to ask ourselves. Would I hire me whenever we have a C on a test? Would I hire me if I had a C on a test? Would I hire me if I had mediocre grades? Would I hire me if I was doing things in a, you know, half manner, you know, in a mediocre manner? Would I hire me in that type of situation? So, and then of course, one of the most important things is values. So, you know, where's your value system at? What do you value the most? You guys go ahead and answer that question for me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Value
Value.
most with what?
Just value as far as in like just life in general. Okay. Awesome. Anything else? Okay, that's it. Friends. Okay. Great. Okay. All right, then we'll go ahead and move on from there. And then it talks about energy, giftedness, leadership ability. And then on the latter part, it talks about, you know, the next step as far as in getting people that you would like to help you out in your deficiencies. So if you could read on page 109 from on the other hand all the way to basically the bottom of the page. Intentionality.
On the other hand, you may be saying, I like who I am and I like the kind of people I attract. That's great. Now take the next step in effective leadership. Work at recruiting people who are different from you to staff your weaknesses. If you don't, important organizational tasks are likely to be overlooked and the organization will suffer as a result. An organization will never fulfill its potential if everyone in it is a visionary or if everyone is an accountant. It is possible for a leader to go out and recruit people unlike himself, but those are not the people he will naturally attract. Attracting people unlike yourself requires a high degree of intentionality.
Awesome. So we have to be extroverts. I talked about that like a couple weeks ago. I told you that was like my goal for you guys were to become more extroverts, because the more extrovert you are, the better your leadership becomes over time. You know, you begin to have conversations with people that you don't know, you know, and you start to have a following base and things like that. You start to have a lot of support because people see, you know, your dreams and aspirations. You're communicating with other people. If you're not communicating, people are not going to know where you're coming from. They're not going to know your dreams and where you want to go in life, but you have to communicate. You have to be open. So in order to build, like we talked about before, on those deficiencies, you must talk with people that it might be uncomfortable for you, you know, to voice those types of things to those people that, you know, I'm not good in creativity, or I'm not good in this area, in that area. But you have to become more of an extrovert and be more open, more transparent. So last thing I want to talk about is the key to being a leader is really looking inwardly first before we look outwardly. I mean, there's been so many, you know, situations where I have to catch myself, because sometimes I want to look at somebody and be like, man, that person's the reason why such and such happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, the bad grade that I got. I was like, man, the teacher, man, I was like, dude, I went into the office, I showed this thing, I said, this is the structure, does this look right? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, we're good. So I'm thinking, hey, look, at the end of the day, you made the mistake. I mean, it's all about looking inwardly. So for me, and for every great leader, I realize that you have to look inwardly before you look outwardly. What did I do in this situation? How can I be more of a leader? How can I correct my mistakes? And then, you know, we look at all the external situations that are going on. So when we correct what's going on inside of us, then we can definitely have better conversations. We can have better relationships across the board, you know, outwardly. So that's all I have for you guys. I appreciate everybody coming. Real quick, we're going to do